Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wizards Outlook. Joined by Raymond Lyons, I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. And the Washington Wizards, you guys see on the bottom of the screen, they took on the Indiana Pacers on the road tonight. The Pacers have been struggling, but they were able to snap their 7-game losing streak with a 113-108 win over the visiting Washington Wizards. We'll get into that and more in just a little bit. First, a quick word from our folks over at Oohs and Ahs. As a Black-owned business, Oohs and Ahs has been a staple in the community, serving as a safe space since its founding in 2003. Join us and experience food for your soul. Visit oozandahs.com to see the menu for hours and more. Order from the Georgia Avenue location today. All right, Ray, want to get your thoughts on this one, man. So many of the things we've talked about throughout this entire year kind of bit them at times, but then at the same, it was weird because it happened on a night where they probably had one of their better shooting nights from beyond the arc that comes to mind all year yet. You know, those same issues kind of came to fruition late in the game.
I think you got to start and end this conversation with points in the paint. They lost that battle 74-36. That's game time, man. You can't get outscored that badly from close range and expect to win the basketball game. You know, Rui being out, of course, impacted that. That he's just another big body that they were missing tonight, and then they're already thin up front with Gafford trying to work his way back from health and safety protocols. But yeah, they just got bullied inside, and that was it, man. When you're giving the team easy baskets like that, they get into a rhythm, their confidence grows, and that thing snowballs out of control real quick. That's pretty much where they lost the game. Also, they had one of their better shooting nights from three, but they didn't particularly shoot well from anywhere else. So, it's a puzzle wrapped in a riddle, encased in an enigma. You just can't figure this team out, man. Some nights they're gonna excel in one thing and just totally disregard everything else. And then some nights it's going to be vice versa. If they're playing defense, then they're not going to shoot well. If they're shooting well, defensive rebound is going to go by the wayside. So the team just got a myriad of issues right now. One of them being their missing bodies. Gafford being out hurts them. And then, of course, with Rui being out as well, it hammers them on the inside and puts them at a disadvantage. But they still got to find a way to compete outside of that. Like 74 points in the paint is inexcusable no matter who's on the floor. That just means you weren't fighting, you weren't putting the body on people, and they just did what they wanted. They couldn't stay in front of Halliburton. He got into the lane, did whatever he wanted, and created for other people. So it was just too easy at times, and when things get like that with an NBA team, it's going to be hard to fight your way out of that, especially when you're not clicking on all cylinders. So yeah, man, it's another one in the loss column. Each one of these losses at this point hurt tremendously because they're trying to claw their way into the play-in situation. I'm not sure what Atlanta won tonight, so that puts more separation between them. I think they're a game and a half back now, but yeah, man, they just got to do what they got to do to win games, man. And giving up 74 points in the paint ain't where it's at.
Yeah, I felt like you was just reading my notes. That was the most alarming thing. Like as they're going throughout the game, you hear the broadcast kind of letting us know when they hit certain benchmarks on points scored in the paint. And every time they shared a new number, it became even more absurd. And again, it's DeMontis isn't there. Miles isn't playing. Like you don't even have the excuse of they were throwing the ball down to an all-star caliber big. Like you said, Halliburton spent the whole night in the paint. Then when he came out the game, Lance Stevenson was like, I'm gonna go put 2 feet in the paint. And then I want to give credit to Brissett, Taylor, all those guys moving up without the basketball, understanding that if their distributors got in the lane, all I got to do is move. They're going to find me. And I mean, Taylor, we'll get to him in a little bit. I mean, he scored all his points in the second half and made a living off just cutting. Wasn't doing anything spectacular. Just, hey, Tyrese, you're there. You're drawing too. I'm going to cut back door real quick. Oh, no, my guy's ball watching. They land, so I'm cutting back door. Let me crash weak side for this offensive glass, for this offensive rebound, rather. Like, it was tough. And in the immortal words of Baron Mordo from Doctor Strange, the bill comes due. You can't play that bad on defense, and good things happen. At some point, you're gonna pay for it. And this was a game again. Like, you wasted one of your better nights shooting the ball from three because you couldn't stay in front of everybody. The bill came due, and clearly, you didn't have money to pay for it because 74 freaking points in the paint. And man, like, I'd love to get to another number, but that's disturbing. Again, so as much as they got in the paint, right? The Pacers got to the line 29 times, and that's great, but they're not a good free throw shooting team. They shot 65% from the line. So they still let you off the hook to a degree. Guess what they shot from three? 20%. They were just beating you over the head with one weapon the entire time. It was they went to the den, they picked up a club, and they kept hitting you. That was it. There was nothing else being done. It was how many different ways can I get to the elbow if you're Lance or Halliburton and hit a jumper? Hield's one of the better shooters in the league. He didn't kill you or go nuts tonight. He had a quiet night. It was an efficient night, but it was a quiet night for the most part. He had 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. So again, the guy that's on their team to kind of be the floor spacer, he was even putting the ball on the deck and finding players. That's the type of night. What anybody on the Pacers that was a primary ball handler had fun. 7 assists for him. Lance had 4 assists. Tyrese had 14 assists. I'm not going to do the math, but again, just to speak to what Ray and I are talking about, like, that's nuts. Defensively, man, you have to do better. Like, again, it hurts even more so knowing, like, you wasted a 27-point night from KCP. Kuzma didn't shoot it well from 2. He shot it well from deep, but I also thought the Pacers did a good job just being very physical with Washington, and we know how they are for to this point of this season. I think it's fair to say when you hit them a little bit, they tend to complain and wonder to the ref instead of getting back, and the Pacers are cool with that. Everybody they were the ones dishing out the punishment on offense. Lance dropping shoulders, Tyrese getting downhill, Brissett windmilling in transition. Like, it was a lot going on, man. I would just sit there typing. I'm like, I didn't, and that's the sad part. I didn't know what the 3-point percentage was. It was really 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And 65 from they smoked 10 free throws and still won 113, 108. So, you have anything else you want to add in terms of the game, or you want me to go ahead and get to that? The most obvious part of this broadcast.
We can move on.
Okay.
Halliburton. He just acted like nobody was in front of him all night. Like it was honestly embarrassing. Like, he literally looked like he was going through cone drills. Like, he got the ball, sized up the defender, got past him, finished, or found somebody else. And yeah, once he started, it wasn't nothing anybody on the Wizards could do.
Yeah, same for me. He did whatever he wanted from opening tip until the clock hit triple zeros, where it was elbow jumpers, step back threes, and he left some on the table as far as the step back threes go. But he was getting into the lane. He was picking apart that defense. I know he had 4 turnovers, but I'm not going to get mad at you when you have 14 assists. to go with the 14 assists, 4 turnovers. I'm not going to get. I can't really complain. The 5 rebounds, the 21 points. It was. You see why they made that trade. Like you see why
Mhm.
people were like, they gave up Halliburton. If you weren't aware of who he was and what he was doing over in Sacramento, not that he was doing exactly this, but he continued his streak since being traded of averaging 10 assists while wearing a Pacers jersey since he's been here. It's absurd. This one's a little bit more interesting. Possibly, we'll see.
Um, I had Tristan Thompson. The way he came in and just imposed his will physically on the game. I seeing as how points in the paint was a huge factor in this one. He, when he got into the game, he just kind of controlled that aspect of it. I don't think he missed a shot till like the fourth quarter. He was just he just bullied the whole Wizards front line. Yeah, and he just kind of kept up what was going on. Prior to him checking in. So yeah, man, he he was able with Halliburton's assault, he was able to complement that and keep the Pacers foot on the Wizards' neck.
And what a night for him. He plays a pivotal role in beating the Wizards and then goes from the Pacers to a different Eastern Conference team. He's now going to be a member of the Bulls. Really weird. Maybe that's why he was laughing and having such a great night. Going from a team going one direction to a team going another direction in the East. Not mad at it. I went with Terry Taylor just because, like, Tristan Thompson's coming off your bench. We expect Tristan Thompson to contribute. Not necessarily that you or I was like, all right, we're going to pencil him in for 17 and 6. Cool. We expect Lance Stevenson coming off the bench. You're going to contribute somehow. Terry Taylor is averaging 8.8 points per game. He had 18 points and 9 rebounds in this game. And then we talk about that 9th rebound, how special it was. Corey Kispert, and I felt bad for him at times. Halliburton went hunting late in the game for Corey Kispert. He plays outstanding defense, forces an air ball, and Denny just has to box out on the weak side. And who is it? It's Terry Taylor catching the air ball, going back up, drawing the foul. He missed a free throw, but the 2 points were huge at that moment. And again, all of his 18, it came in the second half. I don't know what else you can ask for. If you're expecting like, hey Terry, come out, play hard, you hit your average, everything's love. It's a good night. He gave you 18 and 9, and all 18 came in the second half. It's huge. Did a great job moving without the ball, but yeah, I don't think we have any comments or anything tonight, so we're gonna get out of here. And then tomorrow, they're gonna Washington's gonna be in New York. They'll be taking on the Nets, who have seemed to complete an improbable comeback over their neighbors. Which right after we get off here, I'm about to go see how that happened, because like Ray and I were talking before we started, I thought the Nets were down by like 18 or something. Watching the Wizards game, come back later, put stats in here, and yeah, the Knicks went full Knicks. So we'll see if the Wizards can respond, because now they came into this game 2-1 since the trade. They're now 2-2, and tomorrow's the last game, I believe, before All-Star break. So see if they can at least end the first half, on a positive note. Because it's Cardell, Ray, you guys have both been saying it's go time on the other side of that break. You should be happy. Some of the teams you're seeing right now, you're seeing on this side of the break versus.
Right.
That's a nice way to say it, right? Like, yeah. But y'all have a good evening. Thank y'all so much for hanging with us, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And it's gonna be another 7:30 start time. So I think it's be Raymond and Cardell. So Raymond and Cardell will break down Brooklyn, Washington tomorrow. Y'all have a good evening.